here we are. Welcome back to the couch at Jake's.
It's been a while.
It's the other room now, though, right?
Yeah, we used to be over there.
New
Now
room.
we're over here.
New year.
New TV.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even realize you got a big ass
Got a
TV
big
in
ass
here now. This is
TV.
insane. This is some first world shit here.
Yeah. I thought I was going to be a gamer. I bought a new Xbox.
Yeah, I noticed that over in the
Yeah.
corner. What
I
is?
don't play. It's up there.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say it's just a box, an obelisk on the corner.
Yeah, it's crazy looking. It's nice as hell, dude. Like
Well-
the games are so good now, and they have this thing, Xbox Game Pass. So it's like Netflix for game. You just stream games, so you don't have to buy games anymore.
That's
You
so
you pay
interesting
the
to me.
monthly fee
Yeah,
for the,
yeah.
but like it's overwhelming because you can just. I used to like agonize over like, all right, I'm gonna spend $60 on a video game. Like which one do I get?
Hopefully
And then
I
you
like
like
it.
feel like you have to play it. Now I just if I want to play video games, I play like 4 different games for a half hour each, and then you know what I mean? Like it's just I don't
Yeah.
know. It's
No,
kind of
that's-
It's weird and different, but like it's cool to have like 400 games that you're like
Yeah.
crazy new games. Like
It kind of makes sense. It's just like the same. I feel so old and Republican saying
Yeah.
it, but it's like how when like streaming and everything came to be, and it's like, what are we gonna do with all these DVDs? Or don't you want to own the game? And it's like,
right,
I don't,
there's
New
that.
kids don't care anymore.
But you
like-
can still own the game. It's just nice being able to try the games,
Yeah.
and then when I like one, like I go and buy it. You know? But
Really?
yeah. Like if I like, there's this one called Hell Let Loose, which is like an online like World War II like shooting game. Really fun, dude. It's really fun. It's like it's better than like Call of Duty. It's more realistic, and so that one, like I played it for a while, and then I was like, I don't want because they do take games down and put new ones.
Okay, so it's
so you
somewhat
do buy
revolving.
it. Yeah. If you find a good one, you should buy it.
That's
But
still just so interesting. To me.
yeah, it's like very different. I hadn't really played video games in a long time. So
Thank God, yo-yos will never be though. You'll never have a yo-yo.
although with the
rental
fucking
service.
the Apple Vision, like the goggles, maybe
Yeah.
we'll have a you'll just be standing there doing this, but you'll be doing tricks in the VR world.
I was just
Do you
trying to think of a
that's possible?
joke to make about that because it's like I'm sure that they're working on something similar, but it's like
Yeah.
I can't imagine what like the gloves have some sort of resistance. And it's like this one's heavier, this one's lighter.
Yeah. You'd have to have special gloves, and then that would be cool to be able to compose tricks
hmm
in that world and then to do them in real life after. But like you could stop it, like pause,
Yes,
and, like move
yeah.
things around and like rewind. Like, oh shit, what did I just do?
I think that
Like,
that was
that would
one
be
of the
cool.
pitches people had about yo-yoing in VR. Would be like
Yeah.
the trick creation would be crazy because you could do whatever you wanted to, and it's like
Yeah,
it's kind of true, but I don't know. Like I feel like the flow or something would be all fucked
oh
up
yeah,
because
it would have weird effects.
it would be all hypothetical until you get the yo-yo in your hand. And
Yeah,
I don't know about you, but like half of the tricks I make up come from feeling anyway.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, oh, this feels cool or this flows really well, so I'm gonna do it like this.
Yes,
I don't know.
definitely.
The amount of tricks that I've like dreamt up in my head, I could probably count on like two hands.
It's
you know
hard.
what I
Yeah,
mean?
sometimes I'll be laying in bed trying to fall asleep, and I'll think of stuff in my head, and then 9 times out of 10, like it's not even possible when I try it. Like it's usually some kind of weird like suicide trick that just doesn't.
Yeah, that's
really
always what it
work.
is.
Yeah, it's like a weird thing.
Right, or Eli Hop or something.
I can't remember one where it actually worked from my head.
Like I have an Eli Hop that like I pop through like this little hole in your arm over
Yeah.
here, and that was definitely one that like
That's cool. Yeah.
hypothesized in my brain. It wasn't just me playing around. It was like, oh, no one's hopped the yo-yo this way before. But
Right.
when it comes to really dense tech and all that kind of stuff, I feel like it's so feeling based, or I don't know.
So it is possible. I feel like it was Jason Lee maybe said once how he often or is very capable of just making up tricks in his head and then doing them.
That's so crazy.
I really feel like, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty positive he said that somewhere at
I'm
some
sure
point.
he would have been, yeah. The one
And
to say
that
it.
I remember thinking that was crazy. Like he can just sit and just like think about yo-yoing and then do exactly what he was thinking
Yeah.
about. Because I have a real hard time with that. Like,
Andre from Yo-Yo Expert has one of the Apple VR headsets, and he like uses it to work on the plane, and I was like, that would be so disorienting.
yeah,
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm such a nervous wreck when I'm flying already. So
yeah,
it's
me
like,
too.
I couldn't imagine being like, oh, let me throw on an extra layer of disorientation.
Did you try them?
No, I've never tried
Dude,
one.
I
No.
really want to try them. Bergie has a pair too. I don't know. I think it would be cool. He did send me some cool, like, he had a real yo-yo and then he had like a rendering of a 3D rendering, and he was like putting them next to each other and they like looked.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy. Like you can render a yo-yo and then set it with your real yo-yos and it'll be sitting there among it, and like you can get an idea of the size. Or
I mean, you could just do that on
you
Photoshop,
can,
but
it was
also
still
doing
trippy to see it like a video of him
and
like
being able to like adjust it
yeah
instantly and like kind of. It's not like you could pick up the rendered one. But...
yeah. It was kind of cool. But
Are you so into World War II right now? Because you're getting ready for World War III.
I don't know what I forget what triggered my. I go through different phases of things I get fascinated by. Like a recurring one is like the band Nirvana. I go like once a year. I go down a rabbit hole. Oh yeah, dude, I do want. That's so funny, and that one applies to the World War II.
Danny drew a swastika on it, which I'm sure Jake will remove.
It is it's Kurt Cobain with the swastika forehead, which is what like Charles Manson did that.
It's definitely why Danny did it, but it's still, and it's just on the plexiglass front. But it's so funny thinking back to my, I don't know, like I feel like Kurt Cobain was such a an abrasive figure in the 90s, you know what I mean, that our parents would be kind of cool with us idolizing him in some weird ways, or I don't know, buying all these books and shit that are associated with him.
Yeah, I have a brain that I get really obsessed with things and I need to know everything about it. So that's just one example. Like Nirvana, once a year I go back down. I've gone down the rabbit hole a million times, so I already have consumed most of everything there is to consume, but I just do it again.
It's
and
so
again.
rare something new comes up.
Yeah, but stuff has been something last week. A new recording of I forget the song, but it's one that only has demos, and a new demo surfaced. That's interesting. Where it's the full band playing instead of just Kurt.
Oh, word. Yeah, I feel like stuff like that, as the internet, it's already very prevalent, but like, I don't know, like it's just, people are gonna just do more and more to release stuff like that. Maybe.
And there is stuff like Courtney Love has tapes and demos and all kinds of stuff, but it's just she either, doesn't want to for whatever reason, or they're like slowly letting it out, for like different releases and things.
They put out a new song when we were kids.
The Paul McCartney one?
No.
Oh, it's fucked up. You're right.
Yes.
Yes. That's the last thing he recorded with the band that, like the full band. I mean, there's some like real, yeah, he did. But that song's crazy because he like, a lot of people think it's about Courtney Love and like getting a divorce and stuff. There's like some lyrics that really point towards that. But then there's also the one I really want or hope gets released is like literally a week or two before he died. Him and Pat Smear and Eric Erlanderson, who is the drummer of Hole, jammed in the house that he died in the basement. And it was like Kurt on drums and Pat on guitar and Eric on bass or something. And they just like played some of Kurt's songs, apparently. Like Pat Smears talked about it a little bit and they recorded it, but it hasn't come out. So like that's out there too. And it's probably just, whatever, but it would still be interesting to hear because that is the last time he recorded himself playing music that we know exists.
I didn't know that. That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just Courtney Love sold like a good portion of the estate. I forget how much of it, but it was something insane. Like,
oh, really? Like the song rights or just okay, the publishing rights. Right. Yeah. Like people play it. Interesting.
Because you can only collect so much money while you're alive. So like a big chunk of it, I don't know. But like we were talking about, the estate generates so much.
Yeah, t-shirts alone, like it's really wild.
Piece that's like adds up.
And their streams, quickly. I was looking at their Spotify streams are like through the roof too still, obviously. But I love that band and I go through that rabbit hole. So anyway, I went down World War II on. I got the book, God, I'm blanking on it's the big book about World War II, The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, it's called. And it's you can't read it in public because it has a giant swastika on the cover. It's really unfortunate, but it was written in like the 60s, so it was written very close to when the war actually happened. But it's like the guy was in Germany like while it was happening. He was a reporter, and some people now say like it's not the best, but it's still like pretty much considered one of the best like recordings. Mostly it's his attitudes towards like LGBTQ people and stuff, like because he implies that a lot of the Nazi leadership was gay, which is believed to be probably true in certain cases, and he implies that that is bad, basically, like they were wrong, they were what's the word, like just that's immoral, and it goes along with the other horrible things they did. They were all like, yeah, which is insane. He was implying like they were mentally ill, and that was a symptom of it, was being gay, and then also hating like all of it. So that is, but that's not a big part of the book. Like, but he here and there peppers in like being gay is, which is very wrong. But yeah, it really is. But he was, it was written in the early 60s or like late 50s, and this guy was already old by then. Like, he was way different generation. Like, but the book, other than that, is considered very good. So it's huge. It's like over 1,000 pages, 2,000 pages.
Have you already read that too?
Oh, no. This is like my first real World War II rabbit hole that I've gone down, I think. But yeah, I'm just getting old. I'm getting into World War II and golf, and disc golf. Okay. Although if I could afford it, I would be into real golf, but it's too expensive.
I was gonna say it's so expensive,
and
it's like truly it's like fishing, where it's like
it's stupid.
You just relax. Like, there's no like real. There is like a lot of strategy to golf, but it's a lot of walking around and hanging out and just shooting the shit and talking to your friends.
I like
and
that,
stuff.
And it is fun, and I know I could go down that and get really into it, and like practicing. I'd have one of those things where I can hit it into a net. Like, I know I can see myself buying all that shit and doing that. But the thing that keeps me, besides how much that costs, is the best courses in the world you cannot play.
Oh, right.
And you never will ever be able to play. So to me, that's just like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, we can just see it and we can watch people play it, but we can never actually do it ever.
Because
because they're just private and like, So that to me is fucked up, and that's why I like disc golf, because you can play. There are private courses, but all the best top courses are available to play, like every single one.
And it's pretty much free to play on a lot of them, right?
A lot of them, although that's changing as it gets more popular. So, some of the nicer ones are pay to play now, but it's still so much cheaper than playing golf.
Oh, like,
a round of golf at a nice place can be like, I feel like over $100. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but a lot. And the max for disc golf is like $20 for like a really nice course. Yeah. So anyway,
So let's talk about yo-yo.
Yeah,
let's not talk about golf. And God, we're getting old.
What's new? It's been so long
since we've
done one of these.
Have you noticed the yo-yo influencers kind of winding down a bit?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you earlier today. Like, I haven't seen much from the TikTok front. I remember Gentry was going pretty hard with like content, and I'm not sure if I'm just not paying attention or if he's sort of chilled out or slowed down a little.
He posts like a couple times a month, but it's not nearly what
Evan
it was.
Nagao, I feel like, doesn't post at all anymore, I don't think, or hasn't since he won nationals. Like, I feel like he hasn't posted.
And then he said he retired, but now he's thinking about coming back.
I don't know.
I feel like no one ever really retires. Like every farewell tour in music where it's like, oh, in a few years you'll be back. Like,
usually.
I don't know. It's funny. I was talking to an ex-girlfriend recently, and I was telling her like, I haven't competed since like I was in Japan in 2015. She's like, didn't you compete at Philly Nats last time I was there? And I was like, yeah, I guess. And I got third, but I don't really think about that, or it's not like a benchmark on my competitive career. So I'm not like super stoked on it, but like, I guess, I don't know. But yeah, it's very rare that yo-yoers actually retire forever. Or
Was that the last time you competed?
technically, yeah. I mean,
What's the non-technical? What is there another time like a demo? Yeah. Okay.
technically, like
Yeah.
in 2015, I was genuinely like, I don't know, some small part of me thought like if Takeshi or someone wasn't competing in Worlds in Japan, I maybe could have like got top 3 somehow, and then
What happened at Worlds?
I fucked up during prelim.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't think you made fun. I don't remember seeing.
Yeah, the first joyride was like really not a great yo-yo, and for some reason,
I have like 4 of those when I went through all my yo-yos the other night.
the one with
The-
the car on it.
Yeah, the one I played with so much, like it's so beat up, so I used it a lot. I really like those first 2. The other one,
Honestly,
the weekend was really.
It's probably more so that like I didn't practice enough. Like I had the yo-yos shipped to
And you're
Japan.
in Japan,
yeah, where
yeah,
we were
like-
staying at, and like I was really focused on trying to get Kai to practice, but he was like going through some shit with his girlfriend at the time, and just like
what could have been. If
I
only-
know, dude. That's probably like one of the saddest yo-yo upsets of all time. Just Kai.
because that
like-
was when he was like winning.
December 2014, he killed it. Like he won
Yeah.
that Vegas contest, and like that freestyle probably could have. It may not have beaten Zach at Worlds, but he definitely could have placed top 5 for sure, even with all the Japanese talent and stuff like that there. That was the year Jake Elliott won Worlds for 5A, so never mind. That was definitely, I could not have won that year. It's so crazy though. We had 2 American world champions the year it was in Japan in the years previously, where it had like multiple Japanese winners.
That
in
is interesting.
1A and 5A.
how that
like,
happened. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Um,
Takeshi didn't compete in 5A that year.
I think he did, but he maybe had like
Jake
2
Elliott
or
beat
3
Takeshi.
restarts. Yeah.
Wow.
And Jake went like perfect. And I think Jake he beat him by less than a point. I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Cause like Jake is technically good, and like his performance is like by the books, but it's not like he doesn't command a room like Takeshi does or anything.
Right.
And he used like a kind of a weird song, if I remember, or no, he used like just some random dubstep song. But did you watch Hunter's PNWR freestyle?
No, I didn't watch any PNWR.
Really?
I watched Sterling's, I think, but yeah.
Oh, because you were like, you didn't have a booth, but you were
yeah,
hanging out.
I was just hanging out,
yeah.
doing creepers with Spencer. Playing.
It's a hard venue to like really be connected
Yeah.
to the contest because it's so far away from the stage. So unless you're in the general admission area, you're not exactly, you can't see it because it's not within eye shot.
Did Hunter win?
He did. He just used
Yeah.
like a crazy some musical song that like
Oh,
I can't
really?
even remember what it was, but like all the judges and I were looking at each other at the table like, what song is this? Like that's crazy. He's so good, but like
Yeah,
I don't know. Yo-yoers really need like
The music has been tough lately. I feel
Oh
like.
yeah.
I don't remember
Yo-yoers
the last time I was like, hell yes, this is a fucking awesome song. But that's just
Yo-yoers need like a stylist for like music, clothes, everything, just to like help
need
them.
John Robb for the clothes.
Yeah, dude,
Someone-
for real.
People should pay him to. Yeah,
That's so funny because John Robb really changed the trajectory of a lot of yo-yo careers
Mhm.
that would have been
yeah.
so lost and nothing would have happened with them otherwise, and just him being around and being like,
yeah.
you can't wear basketball shorts for your whole life.
Yeah.
Man. Being like, you're right.
That story with Curdy, you always tell us.
I forgot all about every time because it's so similar to him talking to Ben Condi. And like when the Ben Condi story happened, I like walked up to them as that was happening because like there was just a group of like 20 or 30 people like laughing and like
Yeah,
kind of like a couple people were like, you can't talk to him that way. And John was like, no one else is gonna tell it to him.
Yeah.
And like, and then Ben was like, no, you're right though, man. Like I gotta step my game up and like look cooler and blah blah blah. And like sure
then
enough,
the next
year
year he
was
did the
throwing
money.
into the air. Yeah,
That's so
we
funny.
signed to DJ Khaled. Like, but it's so true though, you know, like that. And that one freestyle literally changed Ben's yo-yo career from there
Yeah.
on out, you know.
What happened to Iqui? You remember Iqui?
Lim Iqui.
Lim Iqui?
So funny enough, like he's been coming up on my Instagram feed a bunch lately.
Really?
for
He has
some
an
reason.
Instagram?
Yeah, but it's not his name. I forget what it is. He just remember that one year at Worlds. Maybe you weren't there, but he like dislocated his leg or
No.
kneecap. He was like doing those crazy 360 twirl tricks.
Yeah.
It must have been a year you weren't there. It must have been like 2009 or 2010 or something.
Yeah.
And like we all were like upstairs smoking or somewhere else in the building smoking, doing whatever, and like walked down to the main room, and there was like a stretcher carrying him out, like he was on a stretcher.
What?
Yeah, and I was like, what the hell happened?
He was just doing tricks, or was it his freestyle?
It was practice. I think it might have been.
God,
it was either practice or for like combined division. And he was literally just like doing one of those twirls, and like his leg didn't twirl and he twirled, and like it's gnarly.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So did that end? Did he ever compete after that?
He may have, but I don't think he ever came back with the same.
Wasn't
rigor.
he like when? For some reason, my memory of him is from 2004 or 5 Worlds, one of my early Worlds, 5 or 6. He was like tiny, like little kid, but they had these breakout workshops, and there was the 4A breakout, and I was at that, and it was his first Worlds, and he just this little tiny, like literally this tall kid showed up and was like, just blew everyone out of the water 4A.
Yeah.
And they were like, who is that? And then I remember following years, he like, you know,
he won AP a whole bunch.
Yeah. So, but I don't really remember, like, he didn't win Worlds, right?
No, he was like kind of favorited to win Worlds for several years, but I think because he was sponsored by Duncan, and Duncan didn't have the greatest off-string yo-yos at the time.
He was using a Hayabusa, I guess.
Duncan had like a whole interesting off-string team at the time. I was talking to Sean Perez this week, and we were talking about just all the old Duncan players, and like, who was Kazuyuki Sugimatsu?
Yeah, he used the hyper freehands, dude. That's insane.
Those freestyles at the time were literally crazy. Yeah. Like now they'd still be very cool in tech, but it's like back then you could do something drastically different, and everyone would be.
No, he wouldn't really score anymore, I don't think.
No, I
with the
don't
new
think
rules,
so either,
which really sucks. I wouldn't either. Like, I did decent at off string a couple years, and like 90% of my tricks wouldn't score either now, which is annoying because there's cool tricks to be done.
Yeah, I like see both sides of it, but it's like there needs to be some sort of
a little bit of leeway there.
Offset. Yeah, where like if you are coming through with like a Kazuyuki level freestyle, where it's like you're not yo-yoing like anybody else, it's totally different. It's still off string. You could still drop it off the string.
It's still hard. Yeah, the technical off string is really cool.
Yeah,
can be.
Because they recently like changed up the judging system again to where it was like 70-30 performance tech or something, and now I think it's been like adjusted somehow. It might be like 50-50 or something. Don't quote me on the exact ratios, I'm not sure, but like they've tried to put a little more weight back to the tech side of yo-yo, or they like simplified a couple of the evaluation divisions that are like performance based, but it's still, I don't know, it's crazy, like filming PNWR and then emceeing NER. Like I watched very closely a lot of the freestyles, and it's like everyone's very good now, but it's like everyone's doing 70-80% of the exact same tricks, or like 70-80% of the exact same format, and it's like very little differentiation, and then maybe the last like 20-30 seconds there will be like some originality, and it's like,
it's interesting to me because it always people would always compare, or I just remember people saying like, oh, how is yo-yoing judged? And people would be like, well, it's with clickers, is very similar to figure skating. That's what everyone always said. And now I feel like competition is even more, the actual freestyles are like figure skating, because figure skaters do all the same
20 moves,
and then maybe at the end, like you said, they have like something new or something a little out of the ordinary or stylish.
That's like always contested. Like somebody will do like a crazy trick and it's like, oh, we can't judge that, we don't know what it is.
But yeah, it really is. I kind of just realized that now, but yeah, it's sort of become that, for better or worse.
I can see both sides of it, because like everyone wants to win, especially when you're like a teenager. Like that was the big draw of competition to me when I was a kid, was just like you want to be known at being good at something, or like you want the evaluation of like, oh, I do this well and I'm proficient, and like you want to be ranked somewhere, you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know, it's kind of gnarly how like it's still the same thing, like that's what kids want, but it's like, I don't want to say at what cost, but like even back in the day, like we still were, I don't know, it sounds so Republican and gross and old, but it's like everyone was so drastically different, you know what I mean? Everyone did different
because
stuff.
The scoring was different, the whole system was different, and there was just a culture coming out of, because we were like the generation right after Paul Escolar and Spencer Berry.
Right.
So that generation right above us put a lot of emphasis on originality and creativity. Even like Johnny Del Valle, who was world champ when I started, was different. Still, his style is different from anyone's. And he really was like, that shit was new and creative, and grinds were new, and like the type of slack he was doing was completely new.
And because we were genuinely friends with all those guys and looked up to them,
right?
We like,
I felt like I had
what
to
they
be,
said, right?
Yeah,
so they're like, oh, you should be more original, you should do this or that. It's like you took that to heart, versus now it's like
it really changed, and it's fine, but it does make it hard. It's like they're analyzing it to such a level. It's almost like, I don't know, like a game. Like you're just like, I need to do this set of tricks. I need to do it at this speed and go this percentage of clean, and I will place where I want to place. Like, and it's like a lot of analyzation, I feel like, and just hardcore practice, which has always been there. Like the most important thing is still going clean, I think, like over anything.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was back when we did it too, but yeah, I don't know.
There's got to be different, like a tree of other conceptual tricks that like could score just as well, but you're not just doing the same thing as everyone else, you know?
I mean, I feel like there still is. It's just it has to be a certain type of trick that has some very clearly concrete scoreable elements, but still is done in a way. If you can surprise the judges with something like fresh, I still think there's a possibility that you can score with like new creative tricks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's much harder than when we were young. We could just do shit that doesn't score at all now.
Like, I was thinking about it today, and I feel like, because when I was younger, I used to say like very cringeworthy things about like how this is a golden age of yo-yo, and like, because everyone was really good. Like after Ando won Worlds, everyone was so focused on like, I want to be an innovator now. So everyone was trying to be like really original and doing cool stuff, not necessarily new, but it's like, if you really like it's a hard. It's like music, where like if you look enough, you're gonna find what you want to find. You know what I mean? And it's like there's so many Korean guys that are killing it. There's so many new Japanese guys that are killing it, and like even in America, like the people who you don't necessarily like. Justin Dower has like some amazing concepts and tricks, or like is pushing them in new directions that like ordinary people or ordinary yo-yoers probably watch him like, yeah, he's a competition guy, but like I'm not really cutting my teeth at him, be like, yo, did you see that new Justin Dower trick? But it's like, if you really watch him, he's doing some very cool stuff, or you watch his tricks outside of the stage, you know? And so I think like we are still in like the best time that ever is to be a yo-yoer.
No, I'm not. The level of yo-yoing now is so much better than like people are doing things that I couldn't even like think in my brain. Like maybe someday I could do like things that I would have assumed were impossible are being done like all the time. And that's really fucking cool.
That is cool to see tricks that like you've kind of hypothesized in your brain, and then you're like, but I could never do that. And then
and you're like, so yeah, they are either just that much better, or they like actually put the time in to like make that happen. Which
it's a combination of
so
that,
impressive.
And then also Seth taught me this really good saying of like, your last day on the job is someone's first day. And it's like they're coming in and they have your whole plethora of knowledge, not your experience, but your knowledge to now go from. And it's the same thing with tricks, where it's like all the new young guys coming in have seen the foundation that everyone else has laid, and it's like, okay, cool, I'm starting from here instead of like you're reaching to up here. And it's like they don't really have a choice but to push it in a new and better direction. And yeah, it's interesting because every time I get sick of yo-yoing and I just spend even 10-15 minutes on Instagram, like I see some new insane trick that I'm like, holy shit, like I don't know, even like neck stole, it's kind of cringe, or like I feel like that would have been a thing that...
No, but that's one of those fantasy tricks,
right?
Where it's like, that's not, you can't do it around your neck. I still don't get it. I did over last summer. I like watched it slow down, and like I need to try it again though, because I couldn't do it because I still had long hair and like my bun was in the way. Yeah, so I want to try it again. But yeah, that trick is insane.
It's just it's not as satisfying, I feel like, as some of the other tricks, or like as you get older, it's like even whip tricks, it's like how satisfied do you feel when you do like a 2.5 hook? You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have the same resolution as like a cool, nice feeling slack combo or something that's a suicide or whatever, because like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's like, it's almost anxiety inducing, like doing whips and stuff, because it's like, I don't know how you feel personally when you do them, but like when I do them, like my chest gets real tense. Like I gotta really be limber and loose. And
I can imagine though, if you practice the shit out, I can see it feeling good if you're nasty and you can just do 2.0, 2.5, but like those combos where you're hitting it, like that's gotta feel good. I can understand that, but I'm not willing to put in the time to like to get there. You know what I mean?
No, me either.
I did learn up to 2.5, and I do them once in a while just to like stay sharp, but it is kind of weird how those became so important to like, because they were like novelty. Remember when that video came out, the Japanese and we were like, this shit's cool. The tower one was the best, like that was amazing, but the others were just like, felt like filler for this video. It's just like doing super impressive, like lots of spins, you know, lots of this. And we were like, okay, like that's it. That's some like Mickey shit. Good.
But he was like by far the best, and that was like his swag, because everyone back then, it's like when someone had that kind of like definition on a trick, it's like, all right, that's, no one can do those. That's your trick.
It was absolutely sick, but it did not, I would not have said like, oh, this is going to become like what people do in freestyles to get points. Like,
I don't even know why that really happened.
That's
like,
what I'm wondering.
I think it was a combination of Bergie doing all of his whips, and a lot of his whips were like fake, not like red triangles. Which like still looks really cool, and it's like technically a suicide, but it was like, behind the scenes, he knew like he was kind of gamifying the system by like doing 6 of those back to back and having this super broken combination that like would score 15, 20 clicks. And then like, it's crazy how many people still do that combination of
that exact
the Bergie combo. Which is like, he really fucked the game up with that one. Like, there's very few tricks that in the history of yo-yo can score that quickly, that's like back to back sequentially. With so little setup, you know what I mean? And if someone else just spent a little bit of time designing some tricks like that, they would kill it. Like Luke Troutwine has one trick that's like that, where it scores like, even now it would score like 8 or 9 clicks in the course of like 3 seconds. Come back, man. Nah, he's
after
done, bro.
College.
His dad comes to yo-yo club sometimes, and it's so funny because his like
just
Luke
by himself.
just to come hang out.
Awesome. He's
cool
such
guy.
a nice guy. That's cool. He's still in the scene.
Yeah, but I think Luke maybe occasionally yo-yos. I think when Worlds was maybe going to be in America last time. No, because this pre-COVID Luke was still involved. I forget why. I think
it was his college. He's in an Ivy League school, I'm pretty sure.
He is, but he was talking about like trying to make a comeback at some point, but then he was like, no, like I'm done. Luke. Which is so healthy. Like I wish that you know, more people kind of looked at it that way, or like the Sterling kind of route of like, oh, I'm just going to go do something else.
It's weird to me that, that's weird, because I am such a obsessive person that I can totally get stopping competing. Like that makes perfect sense to me.
But just totally stopping
yo-yo, unless it just, but when you're the level he was, which he seemed like he was clearly doing it for hours a day, like he's very good, that seems weird to just stop completely. So maybe he still does it on his own, and like I spent a long time not in the community, but I still yo-yoed every day. So like, I think you can do that too.
I think his dad said he has like 2 or 3 yo-yos at college or something.
That's pretty much what I did too. Like I was away and I just had a couple, whatever you sent me from Yo-Yo Factory, and I would just play with them. But
he was such a competition heavy player that it was like hard to draw back from. But yo-yoing is in a weird place in that way, where like it's very exhausting right now. Like not personally exhausting.
I mean, look at the world champion current. Like that freestyle is absolutely amazing, but so exhausting to watch. Like so
exhausting to watch. Even.
It's just like
I've only watched it a handful of times, but
it's so impressive. But it's just like, dude, someone was saying how his style is just like he doesn't have like a smooth. It's not that he's not smooth, but like he just forces shit to happen. Like he will just not miss a hook because if he can tell the momentum of the slack's not that, like, he'll fucking like just make it happen by any means necessary, and it looks crazy because he just doesn't miss. But then like you watch it slow or something, it's just like he is really like putting his whole body into like making sure every fucking thing hits right.
That's something that used to annoy me about a lot of yo-yo players, is like you could tell that like they were kind of like just setting the yo-yo into motion and then like hoping it kind of met where the string was going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's like a combination, like that's one thing you can see when
you have a little bit of that too. Like, I think you're very like deliberate
forcing. Andre says the same thing about me.
But you don't really miss either, and you're like super consistent because you like,
you can see it like in people's hands, like they're almost one step ahead, or like they're very calculated in like what they're doing. Like my biggest giveaway is people's posture, like when the way that they're standing, and like you can just tell like when their shoulders are dropped and like their whole
but there are exceptions. Like Spencer Berry just popped into my mind because he can have the most like, but he's still doing like insane shit. But he can have a very sloppy posture. Like for
Spencer's is almost like freestyling though, where it's like he's just working with what is there.
That's
and
true.
Like, when the yo-yo fucks up, like you're totally right.
He makes it look good. Yeah, he has a little bit of that skill.
That is one thing I've always loved about
Jason Lee
it.
definitely vibes of yours, where it's just like deliberate and forcing the yo-yo to go where it's. I'm not like insulting.
No, I'm not.
I wish I could do that. Yeah.
It's just it's funny when you think about how mere yo-yos and like that's how it is.
That's what it looks like to me. Yeah.
No, totally. I forgot who said that. It may have just been like a culmination of all of us talking and like his style, because it's totally not at all relaxed or natural. It's very like his brain and hands are ahead of where the yo-yo is moving
he's
at
like
all times.
doing yo-yoing like really
doing yo-yo.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's really like, he's there to do it, and that makes sense, and that's why he wins, because he's like, he knows what the fuck he's gonna do.
Yeah, because the Korean yo-yo scene right now it was popping before he kind of came to fruition, and like he's not at all. There's like a yo-yo store over there called KJ Yo-Yo, which you should hit up about trying to sell some bucks too. But like the guy who does that, he like 3D prints beginner yo-yos. He does all kinds of cool stuff and like holds all these contests, and I think he has like 200K subscribers on YouTube now. Like he's kind of blowing up, but like I wonder if the combination of both of those will cause, it kind of has, because he posts a lot of videos of little kids, that guy, but like help kind of stimulate the scene over there and in Europe, in Asia, and there's already a lot of like Pacific Rim kind of countries like Indonesia and Malaysia and a couple other countries blowing up right now, or not blowing up, but you know what I mean, like it's, and the Philippines too for that matter. It's a big like coming of age thing where the players who were very young 5, 6, 10 years ago have now gotten older and they're like, oh, I can just run a contest myself. Or like, and those are the countries that like will go to all the local businesses and be like, give us $100 to like sponsor the event.
I
remember Chris Allen did that one year for California States, and I swear I think he gave $1,000 to each division winner.
Wow,
which is insane. $5,000 contest money. But yeah, I got $1,000 for winning 5A at Cal States one year, and I was just like, "What the fuck is it?" It was like goofy almost. It was just like, why? What am I gonna do with this?
Yeah, for California States especially, that's pretty funny.
It was literally like $350 a month or something. It's like, holy shit! Like, yeah. I just bought a really nice bong. I bought like a $300 bong
in Philadelphia.
Yes, exactly. That was like,
joking.
That was like,
it was either that or a Roar. Remember Roars?
The Rolls Royce of
the
stoner community back in the day was having in Philadelphia. Totally broke it too.
It was all, in hindsight, it was all just like to having it, because they were the most basic.
Oh yeah, there was nothing.
They were just a clear glass tube,
right?
Like, but they had the sick logo on it.
Yeah, that's all it was the logo, really. And it came in nice packaging. It came with a
Are they even like, are they made in Philadelphia? Were they made in Philly?
I have no idea.
Is it just a name? I always assumed they were Philadelphia.
They had like a glass gallery in Philadelphia. Philadelphia has always been like a
Yeah.
a cool scene for glass blowers. And even now, like that guy that I interviewed, Marble Slingers there.
Yeah, that's a sick interview.
Quite a few glass blowers in Philadelphia, but I swear they were from Philadelphia, or maybe they did blow them there at one time, but then they like,
I'm sure it's all overseas now.
yeah, moved locations or something. Yeah.
Did you fill it with ice cubes and fucking throw it?
Yeah.
I remember they had the little thing at the bottom, so you just fill the whole tube with ice cubes.
Yeah, I definitely did that a couple times, and then like got so stoned I would like pass out and then wake up and not remember that like all the ice melted. Yeah, and then
you gotta empty that.
Got a mouthful of bong water. Good times.
Philadelphia, bro. Did it break or did you just sell it?
I broke it because like my girlfriend at the time and I adopted this dog, and the dog like jumped at me while I was carrying it and like knocked it against the sink or something. Yeah,
the fucking.
And I was just like, God damn it, like whatever, like it's fine.
That's so funny.
And then my girlfriend's mom at the time was like helping me do budgeting and stuff and getting my finances in order, and was looking over my bank account statements one day and was like, "What is this $300 charge? Blah blah blah." Smoke or whatever. Why $300? Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I bought a bong. She's like, you bought a $300 bong? And I was like, it was after I won like
2014 or whatever that was. That's even more money.
2010. Yeah.
2010. Yeah,
bro, that's like a $600 bong.
Exactly.
Now, yeah.
Honestly, by now
it's so funny though, because she was like, isn't your rent only like $350 a month? And I was like, yeah,
spent the rent check on a fucking Philadelphia.
Yeah, and that was just in my young brain. You're just like, well, like I won $1,000, so I can buy something nice for myself.
No, I still do shit like that, dude. When I come into some money, I'm just like,
you're not doing anything.
I'm not putting it all. No, but I'm not putting it all away like I should be. I'm always like, I'll take that 300 and buy not an Philadelphia, but some dumb shit, an Xbox or whatever.
Most of the things you buy for your hobbies are like cool hobbies though, or stuff that like you like helps inspire you yo-yo. Philadelphia's. Nice. Dude, especially nowadays, a $300 bong is still just like ridiculous because like the function is all the same.
Unless you're getting like an art piece that it's gonna,
and then it's gonna be thousands of dollars. It's not really, yeah. Oh my gosh,
that's so
good
funny.
times.
I haven't thought about that in a while.
But yeah, Asia's doing really crazy with yo-yo right now. Like they're really,
Korea, man.
Korea especially, yeah, but all those countries I was naming are really kind of coming into their own or doing bigger and better things. And it's like, I don't know, maybe that'll inspire some American players to do better. I don't know. It's funny now that like 5-6 years ago when Ryan and I were running all those contests on the East Coast, like they weren't good contests by any means, but it's like we could barely scrape together enough people to come to them to break even. And now it's like,
yeah,
people would love to come to them, love to compete. Every year I still get the most random messages about like, you guys gonna do New Jersey states this year? Are you gonna do this contest or MAR?
That was
and
fun.
Like,
I came to that one with Randy and I met Sage there.
Yeah,
Jersey states. I was like, me and Randy couldn't believe it because he hadn't been to a contest in fucking 10 plus years, and I hadn't really either. That's like right when I came back and we just walked in and Sage was there and we both just like lost our shit. That was
I'd
so
still
cool.
love to interview him for the podcast.
Oh my god, dude, that would be incredible. We can do it, right? Or you can do it.
I don't know.
We can make it happen.
I've asked him a bunch of times and he just kind of like leaves me on red. He has an Android, so I don't know if I'm actually getting left on red or not. But him and I, when I lived in Philadelphia, we lived like blocks away from
you were
each
saying.
other. He would like drive by my crib sometimes and be like, oh, I saw you cutting the grass today, or I saw you, and I'm like,
that's insane.
Yeah,
man.
it would be insane just seeing on my phone that I got a text from Sage, but then it would be even more insane being like, damn, like he's right around the corner, like we could be chilling all the time, but like I think he just has like one of those very demanding jobs for work, or like I think he has a couple kids too, so it's like trying to juggle your time with all those and being like, oh, let me go hang out with Tyler's stoner ass at the time. Like,
in case anyone doesn't know, Sage invented iron whip, jade whip, plastic whip. Did he invent plastic
Nate Sutter invented plastic whip. Isn't that wild?
So I assume plastic whip came first? Maybe
no
not.
I think iron whip was the first one. Yeah,
that makes sense. And then Nate took the naming scheme.
Yeah,
it's
and
probably like a joke kind of.
Yeah, plastic versus, because Sage had a bunch of other ones that were named after other precious metals.
Yeah,
palladium whip, gold whip.
Yeah, yeah.
That were just
he released a couple clip videos with like the most hardcore gangster rap music you've ever heard, and just him doing these tricks for the first time. But they're
I remember
really sick.
watching one of those for the first time and not aware of like what the lyrics were to the song or like how hardcore it would be, and then like it just playing and not having my headphones on, and my mom being like, "What are you watching?" And be like, "It's a yo-yo video." It's like, I don't like that. Yeah. I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Like,
it was like extremely aggressive music, but the videos are sick. The one's called Sage Has a New Capture Card.
Yeah,
it's just like he got
a good video
capture card for his camera and just called it that. And then
it's crazy watching those now and putting yourself into yo-yo's shoes at the time and being like how epic that must have been to be like, yo, he's grabbing the yo-yo from the sides, like what the fuck is he doing?
This guy from Jersey with the like, he used the weirdest yo-yos. They were all like Spintastics and Renegades, but he would modify the shit out of them. So he had like Renegades with metal spin factor rings that he was a really good modder too. Like, his mods were crazy,
which I'm sure were all done in like a Dremel or like
probably a Dremel or maybe
drill with like a hole saw in it or something.
Yeah, you would just attach it to a drill and then just take like a fucking knife to it.
Yeah, I've definitely siliconed all my freehands back in the day before I got a lathe. I siliconed.
I thought that was crazy. I remember you telling me that, and then I tried it once, and I was like, "This is way too fucking like." Maybe I was doing it wrong, but I like could not. I just butchered a freehand zero, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm done."
I definitely. You probably just were doing
yours
it wrong.
Yours were clean, yeah.
Because I'm not. If you took your time, you could do it really clean, you know what I mean? Yeah. But like,
I might not have had the tool. I literally was using like a kitchen knife, I think.
Yeah, I was definitely just using like the tiny little Dremel bits that I was carving into the plastic with, which retrospectively is so funny. And like, I would just be hawking up and like sniffling plastic bits for days. Yeah, because it's like it just all goes into your.
Took a couple years off your life.
Seriously, yeah. And it's funny because like as soon as I got a lathe, or my mom got us a lathe for Christmas one year, we like didn't really play with Dunkins after that.
Damn,
it was just like
too late.
Yeah,
shit.
One time, Connor Ebbinghaus, I don't know if you remember him or not.
Yeah.
He had a lathe at his house, and it was so funny because like this was like at the height of when Dunkins were really cool, and like a bunch of people bought freehands at the contest that day at Indy States, and we all went back to his house, and like Takeshi like would get a bunch of random cool. I guess he just like had a note like with the sales manager at Dunkin' like anytime they did a cool edition, I want a case of them.
Yeah.
So like I won Indy States and I got like 2 or 3 of the Dunkin' Equals Love freehands, which like were super. I think only like 150 or 200 of them were made. They were very, very rare at the time. And I like went downstairs and I just siliconed them all because I was like, oh cool, like just cut the grooves for them, and literally like 20 kids were just like, can you do mine too? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like I genuinely enjoyed doing it at the time. But I've like met some of those kids like later. One of them was Aaron Bendit, who like I totally did not remember.
Aaron Bendit? Really?
Yeah, doing That's that insane. I lived with him years later, and he like recounts that story with very fond memories, and I'm like, oh man, those were good times. Like that was very funny at the time, because like if you were to buy a silicone recessed or recessed yo-yo by Takeshi, like from him direct, it may have been $30, but then if you went to like Infinite Illusions or something, it'd be like 40, 50 bucks. Yeah, because Takeshi probably bought them for like 15. I have
a couple.
Takeshi probably bought them for like 15 a piece, and then sold them to Greg for 30, and then, which even then thinking about it, it's not like it would have went very quickly. You know what I mean? Damn, I still need to get a translucent hyper freehand.
This one's my favorite. This is just a recessed throw monkey, but it has the caps.
Yeah.
That was so an Infinite Illusions collab.
Well, just so funny thinking you probably paid $40 for a throw monkey.
Yeah, I got this from Brian Koski, so I don't know.
Traded something.
He probably sold
it for $20 or whatever.
Yeah, but he got it from Takeshi, I think, or maybe he got it off Infinite Illusions.
These yo-yos were so like at the time everyone kind of hated them, or like, but they're so fun, you know.
I love the throw monkey. I was just talking about how I want to do a yo-yo, a plastic with rubber rims, and I was talking to FPM about it, and they're like, obviously like giving me a hard. They're like, what material? I'm like, soft plastic, but like rubber, and they're like, Like they didn't understand, and they're like, "We have some stuff. We'll get back to you," but like they don't
This
have
would-
like this type.
Yeah,
of
you probably
rubber.
couldn't machine this because
No.
it's like
But there is something you can
there's
do
no bar
because
stock of that.
some Japanese company recently did it. It was exclusive to Japan, but it's like a Henry's Viper. Did you see those?
Called the salamander, right?
Something, yeah. It was basically like a reimagining of the Viper. So
Yeah.
it's a metal yo-yo with these like, it's not rubber, but it's like very soft plastic rims.
It's plastic. It's
It
machinable.
is a
You
type
think?
of
or-
plastic,
okay.
yeah. But it's
I
like
was gonna say that
much
may have
softer than polycarb.
that may have just been like some random rubber ring they found on another thing, and
No,
they're like,
I think
"Oh,
they,
let's order
they
1,000
said what
of
the
these."
material was. It's some weird ass.
Huh.
It has a name. I'll look it up then. But
You could do
anyway.
urethane too, like skateboard wheels.
yeah,
Like
I just
really
think it would be
soft
fun
urethane.
to have like
Yeah,
a big goofy
it would be awesome.
rubber, because the Throw Monkey was my first ball bearing yo-yo.
And if it was like harder or softer plastic, but
Yeah.
like still a little rubbery, like it would kind of, it wouldn't be as bad like when the string hits it or something. You know, what I mean?
Right,
You could still play with
exactly.
it. And then that's a
There's a-
freehand too with coral rings.
yeah,
right?
so it's a bootleg Throw Monkey, they called it. So real goofy, because like the Freehand 2 and the Throw Monkey were out at the same time, and then they're like, no, we need to make a bootleg monkey, which is, it's slightly smaller and like different.
It's way different. I mean, and it's
It's just-
probably honestly smoother than this one is.
yeah,
Like, I would
it's a
think
very
so
cool.
anyway.
I always want. I think I got that from Brian too.
I really wanted to try to make one of these back in the day, but I didn't
I don't
understand.
Yeah.
Well, because the coral ring, if you took these off, it has like a solid step of
Yep.
rubber.
yeah.
So like you could just cut into the side of the freehand too, like cut a little negative step lip and,
And
then
then just
glue
clip.
them on. Right?
Okay.
Not even clip, just glue them on.
Yeah.
But I thought that they were all clipped on, so I literally took a Dremel to like the step on the rubber ring, and then
Yeah.
like ruined a freehand too, trying to glue them on the side, and it just never worked. Well.
That's. I have
It
a
was
funny
bad.
story too. So this confused the shit out of me. I was aware of all these when I was young. I'm like, okay, so Freehand 2, throw rubber rings on it. It's a Throw Monkey. So I had a Throw Monkey, and I'm like, I'm gonna rip the rubber rims off. There'll be a Freehand 2 under there, basically.
And it's like
and
crazy
it's like
teeth.
this
yeah.
insane like, and it just was so shitty. I still have it somewhere, but it is a Freehand 2 kind of, but it has like these weird things that hold the rubber on, and it's very sharp and like doesn't
Oh,
work as a
yeah.
yo-yo.
It's the same thing with the Flying Panda. They're both
Yep.
the same body underneath.
they
It just
are.
has different rims on the
I
top.
love Flying Pandas too. That whole line is so good. And then this is just a Takeshi recessed
So
hyper
good.
freehand, which is hard to do because the caps don't come off.
Yeah, you just need to put it on a lathe. But,
Oh, really?
yeah.
They
I have a
acted
whole-
like it was hard to do back in the day. I remember people being like, "Oh, you can't do it to those." Like
Because if you
it's a little harder. You
Yeah.
just need a lathe as opposed to a drill or something.
right or a drill press, right?
Yeah.
Because with the drill press, it was basically the same thing where you just like took the cap off, nailed it into a piece of wood, and then you could like turn the half. Like,
oh wow,
while
that's
that
how
was
they
on
did
it.
that with the. Wow,
with a drill press. Yeah.
that's crazy. But Takeshi always did lathe, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, these are sweet.
Yeah, Jack Rinka told me a crazy story one time of Duncan. It was either Duncan or Bandai. They burned like a whole pallet of black hyper freehands because like the promotion was over. It was like a huge financial
Burned it?
failure. Yeah, and they were just like, nobody even wants these. We can barely give them away, so just incinerate them. And I don't know if he was just being
Yeah.
like Jack about it or if it was
Hyperbole, but
Yeah, right.
even if they burn 10 of them, that's like a nice chunk of money now.
Yeah. I'm so fortunate to have gone to Worlds that first year in Japan because we walked into Spin Gear and these were like sitting on a shelf at $25 a piece, and not these but the solid
Yeah.
ones. And I bought a whole set, but like even at the time the yen was so weak, I think they came out to like $19 a yo-yo or something or $20 a yo-yo. It was like absurdly cheap, and I was just like, wow, this is like unheard. Like I can't believe it's like one of those dreams come true. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're such a cool yo-yo. The freehand rocks, man. Just
Yeah.
that era of Duncan is just unbeatable. Duncan's still great, but probably needs a new bearing.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just
All
like,
my Duncan guts are all like I'm missing spacers and like O-rings.
and it's so funny because when we were kids, we had that
I had
stuff
so
in
many.
abundance.
No,
Yeah.
I have so many are missing, and like half my Buzz-ons don't have SPRs somehow. Like,
I have
what happened to the fucking SPRs?
tackle box full of Duncan guts if you want.
Yeah,
So
I might
next
need a
time I'll bring
few.
them up, yeah.
Because the ones I do have are the super skinny ones that you need the O-ring. I like the fat ones that are like all in one. You know, those are what I need. But
Yeah, I can't believe how many Buzzons you have. That's crazy.
I had more than I thought. But
you almost have one of each. Do you have a Manahune?
no Manahune, no Deviate, no Rogue. I guess that's all I'm missing.
Dude, I had a few.
Oh, no Blaze, which is the rubber ring elements.
Yeah. Speaking of repurposing parts, Dave told me a funny story at one time when originally the Bushido rings were like machined or something, and then he started using like shower curtain.
Yeah,
rings
you told me
for
that.
them.
He just a hollow shower curtain, just sawed it and then stuck it in, which makes sense because the caps are a pain in the ass to get out. But when you pop the caps out of a Bushido, it's just like the skinniest ring ever.
Why is it so heavy though compared to the? I
think they're brass.
Oh yeah,
some of them, yeah. So maybe he was using like a brass.
I do kind of remember that when I took the rims or the caps off mine way back in the day.
They're super heavy and they're such a cool looking yo-yo because of how the caps cover everything.
Yeah.
Like it's just a solid, it's like the new capped yo-yos that are so popular. Like it looks like a solid unit. But
yeah, Buzzon was really ahead of its time in some ways. Sick, like I wish, I mean,
they played better.
They played better.
If they played better. I mean, if they did, they would be because they were really bad. Yeah. I mean,
Jeff Pang is like almost kind of doing it now with the machined injection molded halves because like that's kind of what I think. Not Dave was necessarily going for, but like his. I was listening to this podcast with the owner of Vans today, and he was talking about how when the Vans stores first opened and you could custom order shoes and go in and be like, oh, I want this style and this color with this tape around the side, like foxing tape, and then these color laces. And it's like you could hypothetically have done that with the Buzzon yo-yos, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that may have even been an option at some point on the
think
website.
It was. I was looking at their website on the Wayback Machine. They had a wild website with like a whole section that was a store of like one-off because he was really good at dyeing yo-yos too. Yeah. And the one-offs would go directly to the team, like the proceeds to like fly them places. And then, yeah, I don't know. He might have, I'm sure if you would have hit him up and been like, I need 100 blue with black ring.
Yeah, that would have
been
easy,
he definitely could have.
Yeah.
But that's why I like collecting them. There's so many weird ones that he only made like 50 of,
or not even sometimes,
because the caps were all so easy to customize. So you had like Markmont did some of the caps, Johnny Del Valle did a lot of them, but they're like really interesting cap artwork.
Yeah, I think the first year I was at Worlds, I want to say he may have had a table, or no, he didn't. Never mind, he definitely did not. Maybe he came like the last day and just like popped open a case on one of the compulsory stages and was selling stuff because there was like. I remember just like looking through his case
because I was at 04 Worlds, was my first yo-yo contest, and I have my 04 Worlds. I
see it, yeah,
dude, it's marble. It's so sick, and it has engraved rings. So the rings are.
They say Worlds too, yeah, Worlds.
And then it's a marble, beautiful, like blue and gray.
Yeah, and sparkly,
crazy fucking plastic, and that was probably like $35.
Yeah, they were super expensive back in the day too.
They were like Yo-Yo Jam prices. I feel like maybe they were even 40, but they're numbered. So I think he made 100 of these. So this is number 91. Like, just I don't know. So cool. The engraving's so shitty, but like it's
because they're like hand tampered in, you know.
Yeah, I mean? But you can see like it's just like
on the edges, they're kind of ridged up. Yeah,
but it's still, and that. I remember buying it, and I remember distinctly like this is not very good. I was like, I'm glad I kept, because I had a Hitman already. I was set, dude. Like I didn't need, but I just wanted like a commemorative yo-yo from the contest, so that's what I picked. And it was like, it's cool as hell though. But
yeah, it's cool that you have it now because it's.
Yeah, I'm glad I still have it, but no, they did not play good. You always have to remember like Anti-Yos did not play good. And still don't, and Buzzons did not. Like a lot of yo-yo jams were honestly just the best. Like
and even
they were pretty consistently good, but they all broke eventually. Like,
right. So and they were only good for the time. Like these, you can kind of tune now and get them pretty good.
Yeah, you really can.
And at the time when I learned how to tune
completely hating, but like overall, they're pretty rough, man. Like they're tough to get playing good. Same with Anti-Yo. You can get a Bape dead smooth, but it takes a fucking hour, and then as soon as you hit it on something or take it apart, you have to restart. Like it's just the way it is. But
yeah, that makes me curious of how Duncan does it so well with the freehand one, and how like theirs are so nice
so
every
nice,
time.
yeah.
They're not as soon as you take them apart, but like
Yeah. But yeah, freak back to the modding, like those silicone freehands back then were I mean, they're basically what they're selling now.
right, yeah.
But we just had them in 2006, 7, which is crazy to think. Like they were so good when you got a good silicone modded freehand.
Oh yeah, and you could tune them pretty smooth. Like
Mhm.
good times, but also so glad that now you don't have to do any of that. I remember kind of, and it's purely from nostalgia's sake of being like, oh, I like being so hands-on with my yo-yo and tinkering with it, but then like as soon as things became easier to use, people instantly got better. Like the yo-yos
No,
were
it's
way easier to take care
it's
of.
fun
Like,
to like wax poetic about modding, but like it's not. It's better now that you can just buy a really sick
right.
yo-yo and
It's like
not have
having
to
a
worry about it.
yeah, like cars 100 years ago were pieces
Yeah,
of shit.
it's the
but
same
yeah.
shit though. Car collectors now, they like old cars because they're shitty and you have to work on them all the time.
Yeah.
Like that's like
Oh my
I don't
God.
care what anyone said.
No,
You
you're
buy an
right,
old
yeah.
fucking car, it's gonna break down all the time. But they like working on cars, so like
Yeah.
I don't really like working on yo-yos, so I don't play with old yo-yos anymore because like I
Dude.
don't have the patience to fucking just they don't spin as long. They fucking have shitty stability. Like everything about them sucks.
Even the
compared to-
bearings back then
Yeah.
weren't stainless steel. They were all
Yeah,
like
all my
aluminum,
shit's
they're
rusty.
all awful, yeah. Yeah, that's funny.
I
But
have a
that's
Luke Vader freehand somewhere. Remember
definitely exactly what I was doing.
those? Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of good players, though, who do you think was Player of the Year for 2023? It's a hard question. I know.
Yeah. I mean, like competition one?
No, just your favorite
overall?
or what the in general. Who do you think is like the guy for 2023?
For 2023 in particular, I'll have to think about that.
Yeah,
Someone
there's
who
so many
comes to
good
mind who I
ones.
really like, I always forget his name, Japanese player. He's just on Instagram. He doesn't compete. He uses a Gopa all the time. He used to be on your team on Recess.
Oh,
God,
Shota. Yeah,
yes.
Shota's amazing.
Yeah.
He
I don't
didn't-
know like what his output was in 2023 exactly.
I was gonna
so
say he
wouldn't-
didn't put out a ton in 2023.
Yeah, he doesn't put out a ton in general, but
He's still like one of the
He's
best.
just
That's one of
my
my
favorite,
biggest quandaries of
Yeah.
letting that slip away. But yeah, he's so good, and he's always been that way. Like even when we first put him on the team, he was like the tricks weren't as well defined yet, but like you could see it in him now. Like yo, if you just keep up at the pace you are, or like your style and like the way that you look at tricks is just amazing and out of here.
it's crazy.
I would go with Daniel Kim.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because the motif came out.
Yeah.
Was that last year? Time is so weird. I'm like 2023. I'm having a hard time even putting
It
it.
may have come out the
it
end
might
of
have been
2022.
2022,
Yeah,
but-
I forget exactly, but in fact, I'm pretty sure it was 2022.
Yeah, I think it was.
But
But yeah, he's
his
so
output is
good,
amazing.
too.
Everything he puts out is always so good. Like,
Yeah, I got to hang out with him at NER. I stayed at Sean Thackeray's house with him, and we
he
played
came to
disc golf.
NER.
Yeah,
Oh wow,
he was there. He flew out and we played disc golf at Maple Hill.
I do
and-
remember him posting about that. Yeah,
And he, so I got to see him yo-yo a lot.
I
and
just
he's
must not
crazy.
have seen him at all at the contest.
It
'cause
was
I
so
busy
fun.
emceeing,
Sean's
but-
house is so fun because he's like me. He has a million yo-yos,
Mhm.
but his are like spread out in little like things like that. But on like every flat surface, and he is a crazy collector. Like if he likes a yo-yo, he gets it in every color. So
Oh,
he
yeah.
has like all the old golden age CLYWs
Wow,
and like multiples, like canvas and like
damn, that's
Arctic
wild.
Circle too, like all these ones I've never used because like
Yeah.
I never had those, and some of them are really fucking good. The Woolly Marmot too, holy shit, that's a good yo-yo.
Yeah,
Like by today's standards, insanely good.
all of their yo-yos are pretty good by today's standards. It's kind of amazing that they don't do more retro runs.
They're
of those
doing one
sorts of
right
things.
now, but I forget which one it is. Arctic Circle maybe. Or
Oh,
they
yeah?
just released. Let me see what it is. Yeah, it's like a reissue, and I guess Steve is saying they're gonna, because before I guess they were kind of not doing that to keep the collector's market going, You know, like,
which doesn't benefit anyone but
exactly.
the collectors. And so many of the old collectors don't even really yo-yo anymore.
I don't know. I don't quote. I'm sure they weren't intentionally, but they just sort of were like, we're going to release new models. But now I think they are going to be, from what I understand, reissuing the classics.
Just a handful a year, you know what
the
I mean?
Avalanche.
Avalanche, okay.
Avalanche is back.
I think that's Christian Kaluza's pro model. That's
funny. No. What were you talking about? Ruh-roh.
I'm almost positive that was his yo-yo, yeah.
No way, really?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know if it was a signature, but I hope they bring back Curdy's signature. Igloo? I like that yo-yo. That was such a good yo-yo.
Let me look it up. Krish. I don't remember how to spell his crazy-ass name.
Yeah, I've never used the Avalanche, but
I'm almost positive it was that.
Oh yeah, and Bird has a yo-yo coming out with him. I'm excited.
That's been in the works for so long.
It's really good though. I was excited to try it. It's got a good trick here too. I'm watching a trick.
I'm pretty sure it was the Avalanche, bro.
Yikes. No, I don't know. Got that slimline coming out too. And this canopy thing. Canopy collection. I wonder if I assume they're gonna have yo-yos with that.
Yeah, it's in the description for originally crafted as a signature throw for 2010 British 1A champion Christian Kaluza.
Oh no. That's so funny.
That used to be part of the deal with Caribou Lodge. If you
everyone got a signature?
No, if you got a signature, you were allowed to like take the CAD with you. I think that was like a Chris byline, was like, oh, like if you design a signature and you leave, like I'll give you the CAD so you can remake it.
So I wonder if Jensen did that with their first yo-yo, because it's very it's different, but it's very similar to a canvas or like even the Woolly Marmot 2 I was talking about is like very much what they're doing now.
Oh yeah.
It's like a, organic, but like with a little bit of rim weight, but like super thin wall. Like it's a really interesting. I can see how they progressed to where they're at now.
Yeah, no, I don't know if that was the case with that or not, but you're right. They were very similar, and like I kind of said the same thing at the time.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, these look really similar to.
So Curdy needs to make an Igloo.
Yeah, I don't think he loved that yo-yo very much, the Igloo, which is funny because like that's one of like the yo-yos that Dennis has out at his house, and I was playing with the other day, and I was like, this was very underrated at the time. But I think when it came out, it retailed for like $170.
Yes. Yeah, it was. I remember very distinct. The reason I even brought it up, it was Virginia States, and it would have been like 2015 or 2016. Like it was,
which is insane. Now it would have been like a
contest
$230 yo-yo, $250.
So I hadn't been to it. I hadn't met Curdy yet, and it had just come out. And I had just met, like, you had just introduced me to Curdy, and I tried his yo-yo, and it was because I had been out of the game it was like mind blowing because it was like a bimetal, and it was like so good to me. I was like, this is insanely good. And then I saw the price. I was like, oh, I'm never getting one. I just couldn't. Yeah, I like definitely at that time, especially could not. There's no way I could think about affording $100 yo-yo, much less. I think it was like $150.
Even now, $100 yo-yos, unless it's like made out of something nice that's gonna last a while, it's always so daunting to me. Like I get why people do it or why it would be a cool thing, and it's like it's not that expensive, I guess, for what it is, especially if you're careful with it. But I just imagine,
I try to try them first if I'm going to spend that much on the yo-yo, and then I justify it by like if it's going to bring me, even if I only play with it for like I usually pick a yo-yo in the morning and play with it all day or whatever, and then I'll usually use the same yo-yo for a couple weeks. So like even if I only use the yo-yo for 30 or 40 days, then I just do the breakdown of like how much did it cost me to, if I spent $100 on it and played with it, it brought me joy for 30 days. Like that's only a couple bucks a day or whatever, and I know that's like crazy, but that's how I justify it. Even
to me, that just seems expensive, but I guess but I don't know.
Somehow that makes it okay to me when I have to. I don't do it often, but when I spend like 100 or whatever.
Yeah, and it's a tax write-off now with your brand,
exactly.
So like I get it, but it's
yeah, I still like new yo-yos. I think more than you maybe buy collecting shit more.
Yeah, to me it's just like toy, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, and it's
Nah, I get off with the different, like, oh, this one feels different, bro. It's like, it's nice. It makes me have more fun yo-yoing. So
yeah, I totally get it.
I've always been that way. I just like, I get a new yo-yo and I start doing like different tricks and stuff. Like I'll get someone's signature yo-yo and I'll be like, I'm gonna yo-yo like with that Kieran yo-yo.
No, you're
I like shorten my string super short and I'm like, I'm gonna learn a Kieran trick, and then and then I find some new stuff that that I wouldn't have found otherwise.
Yeah.
I was trying a new yo-yo. So
No, you're totally right about that.
I like that. Yeah.
There's this yo-yoer who owns this company, General Yo. You ever heard of it?
Yeah.
He buys so many guitars. Like this guy, I swear, every pay period he must buy another guitar. And
no, guitar players say that all the time too. Like even famous ones are like, this guitar brought this songs with it, like Clapton or whoever. They'll talk about like, and then I switched to this guitar and I found these songs with this guitar. You know, it's all like whatever, but like,
I mean, it all
that feeling
plays into
and like,
it. Yeah, like you look at it, it's a certain color, the shape of it, the way that like this, even
sound and everything.
Right, when you're that good and that expert level, like the smallest little thing, like that Kieran yo-yo is so tiny and dense. Like it does make you want to play like Kieran, you know?
Yeah, it does. It's a perfect yo-yo for him. So good.
Yeah. Are you excited for Worlds and Nationals coming up?
Yeah, definitely. I booked my Worlds stuff. I'm flying to Cleveland.
Nice.
Yeah, I did all the math. It's cheaper to fly. I got like a $180 round trip flight out of Allentown.
Oh, wow.
So like I still have to fly. We stop in Philly. It's like, but it's just nice because I can just Uber there for like $6 and not have to worry about the logistics of driving to Philly.
Yeah, maybe I'll fly too.
Honestly, yeah, because like when I added up the math or the math, I'm so tired. The gas, the tolls, and then I know you can find street parking, but like you have to be careful, move your car around, not get to. They want $40 a night to park at the hotel, so I'm like,
that's your flight right there.
Exactly,
that's insane.
So I'm flying to Cleveland, and then Nats is in Philly, so that's easy. I don't think I'm even gonna stay. I'll probably just drive back and forth.
Oh yeah.
Probably.
It's not that far of a drive for you.
It's an hour.
An hour? Yeah, it's not bad at all.
So I don't really mind. Then I can sleep at home, not have to. But maybe I'll stay. Whatever.
It's so funny being an adult and thinking that. Like I'm thinking the same thing, even though I'm too
old for the from
sleep. Maryland.
Even with Worlds, I was like, I'm not rooming with more than like 2 other people. Like I did that growing up, like where you have 10 people in the room and everyone's on the. I just like, I'm old now and I just want a bed and like quiet. I want the room to be like quiet and like chill and not like where I can get away from the yo-yo contests. And, so yeah,
a couple years I've definitely roomed with people who like come back to the room at like 2 or 3 a.m. just drunk out of their mind and then like knock into stuff and it's just like
exactly.
that whole like
I have no patience for that shit. I start yo-yoing at 4. Like, bro, and then you wake up,
they have the hallway light on and
you got a shit and there's someone in the bathroom showering for an hour and like
that's the worst.
Yeah, I don't need any of that shit. So yeah, I'm just an adult now and boring, but yo-yo contests still rock, but I need like smaller doses. I can't do like 4 straight days of like.
And when you're there and present and like actually hanging out and like know what you want to do for the day, then like it's easier to like feel satisfied from just being there during the day and being like, oh, I'll come back tomorrow and hang out again.
Yeah.
Versus like when you're a kid and you're just so hungry to be like, I need to be there for every second possible and I want to just hang out and everything is fun and everyone is awesome and like I didn't see this random guy. Like I think about that all the time, how I used to literally talk to like everyone at the contest. Like even Frank Diffio, like I would talk to him like it would only be for 5-10 minutes, but it would still just be like, oh, hey, Frank, how are you? Like, how's Diffio doing? When you guys release a new yo-yo? That's fun. All right, cool.
Rest in peace, Frank.
Yeah, rest in peace.
I forgot he died. That's crazy.
It is very crazy. It's crazy that it lined up so like happenstance to when they made that collaboration with Brian's tour.
So fucked up. I gotta get one of those. I wonder if they sold out.
I can't imagine. I'm sure they made at least a couple hundred. You know what I mean?
And those were American made or not?
No, they were made in China.
I thought so. I know he had. I wonder what happened to his eBay. He had a crazy active eBay.
Yeah,
I did buy up. Like I bought several concave Diffios from Yo-Yo Expert because They're legitimately good. I got that Kirin yo-yo as a B grade, and it vibed. And I swapped the bearing out for a Diffio concave, and it didn't vibe anymore.
Really?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Like, it's crazy how those bearings are just like nice, dude.
Yeah, I've often thought about that with first base, and when I test them, if like when I get down to like the last few first base pieces, sometimes if I put a concave in, not even a Diffio concave, just like a Chinese concave, for some reason that'll be perfect in there. I have no idea why.
Yeah.
But like I just feel like the concentricity on so many of the other bearings that come out are so bad and like rattle and vibrate that like it's, I don't know, it's just makes it a bad yo-yo. So if you have like a better quality bearing.
Yep.
Everyone used to say that about those yo-yo, I forget the name of the brand, the DS bearings, double straight bearings from Japan.
DS, I think.
Yeah, if there's a bearing manufacturer over there that makes them in Japan, and they're Japanese made, and they're like 30 or 35 bucks a piece. And it's funny because like when people first told me about them, I was like, I'm not like, I'm, even if I can tell a difference, there's no way this is going to be justifiable by the price. But when you play with them, it really does.
They're good. Those come with standard with the art yo-yos, and I assume they come with all
really?
yo-yo rec. Yeah,
Jesus.
Art yo-yos come with those yo-yo rec bearings, and I assume yo-yo rec yo-yos do too.
Yeah,
I would hope so. They're definitely nice. I don't know. I haven't noticed. I never paid any attention until that incident with the Kirin yo-yo, and now it's like, what the fuck? This is weird. So then I started looking, and like, there's big differences in them. Like certain ones will like click into a yo-yo, and then the next bearing will just pop right on and off and have no click, and then others will get stuck. Like there's differences in the size, and that has to have some minute effect on like the vibe if there is any, and
even just the quality of the metal that it's made out of, you know what I mean? Like there's different levels to like steel and I've always thought that about yo-yos too, between the different shops, because you can definitely tell like the ones that come from certain shops don't use nice of bar stock as the other shops. You know what I mean? And it's like the average player isn't going to be able to tell the difference, but when you are been yo-yoing for 20 years, you can definitely tell a difference. And like that's the difference you notice with those double straight Japan bearings, is just like it'll take a yo-yo that's like a 9.8 to like a 9.9 or a 10 just because of the bearing. And it's like, I don't know, no one needs a yo-yo that dead smooth, but like I get why
it's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. And in a competitor's mind, when you have like 3 or 4 yo-yos that you know specifically. I'll never forget the first time I met Johnny DeValia. He was at Mitchell's for this Yo-Yo Jam demo meetup thing. And he flew into Philly like early as hell, like, and so he was there at like literally when the store opened at 9:00 in the morning. And when Joe told us that, I was like, all right, we're gonna come at 9 then and hang out with Johnny till like noon. And at first he was like kind of annoyed, but then after a while he was like appreciative that we came out, and he could like tell that we were really good and stuff. So he was like, oh man, you guys are really working hard out here. And
was this like 2005?
Yes. Yeah. And he had like 4 or 5 hitmen with him and a couple ex-cons. They were all like the super rare marble colors and shit like that. And he had one bearing, one Diffio concave bearing.
And you just swapped them.
Yeah, and he was just like, when I want to play with different yo-yos, I just take it out and put it in each one because this bearing is really good. And I was just like, what in the hell? Like,
I wonder if he was still doing. He was crazy with like shims and shit too. He always had the red. He's like, I set up my hitman. Clean concave bearing, 1 red shim, 1 gray shim, and like you twist it not quite tight. Like he had a whole video of like how to like hot rod your fucking hitman.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so I bought the red shim, and there's just like little card, like they were like, I don't know what the material was. Those Yo-Yo Jam shims,
like
you could like snap them in half. Yeah. They were like $1 a fucking pair.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't imagine what the markup was on those. Yeah. For the first iteration of Yo-Yo Best Buy, if you wanted Johnny to do that for your yo-yo, it's called pimping your yo-yo.
Yeah, that's right. Pimped. Yep, you could get it pimped.
But that's, at the time, that was like an okay. Even now, it probably wouldn't be that crazy to say. But
that's what's like, hard to fathom. Like Yo-Yo Jam yo-yos came stock with lubed bearings.
Oh yeah, that's how all the yo-yos.
You couldn't even play with it. You like before I even played with it. You open it, clean the bearing, then you play. Like it's like a lot. So having that option was actually sick because you get the yo-yo with the clean bearing.
You would like have to shim them in order to play with the the actual black rubber O-rings, like to
Mhm.
have it be unresponsive, or else it would still be pretty fucking responsive with just a flat bearing and the rubber O-rings. It wasn't until like silicone O-rings came out that it was like, man,
Yeah.
this is like dead unresponsive.
Yeah.
Like I remember doing that for hours back in the day, just like trying to get a yo-yo dead unresponsive, cleaning bearings over and over and over again, and
For
trying to look in the gap and see how close everything was.
before the silicone mod and the silicone O-rings, I would like take a razor blade to the black O-ring and cut it, and then you flip it over so you still have like the nice smooth round, but it's like flush.
Yeah,
That
I definitely
worked
did that
pretty
too,
well.
but I also didn't like that it turned your string black.
Yeah,
That was kind of annoying.
definitely.
And then silicone kind of fixed all that, but
Yeah, silicone Hitman is a great yo-yo.
I still remember the first time I tried to silicone like all of my yo-yos, and I just totally messed up because I didn't understand like how it worked or how perfectly you needed it in the groove, you know, and how responsive it actually would be when you bound up your yo-yo. Like a fresh siliconed yo-yo is like it's not tug responsive, but it's like when you do a bind, it comes right back.
Yeah, you gotta break it in a little bit.
Yeah, but it was just funny because I just like smeared it over the top and was
Yeah.
like, oh, hopefully this works.
I think
know.
I did that
Like,
shit too, and I remember I didn't get flowable silicone. I just got like regular, and it made it a lot more difficult.
It was
to
one of
work
those
with.
things that if you read the directions on one of the mod guides, like it would have explained all these things, but it was like 25 paragraphs written by some random spurged out yo-yoer that's like, hi guys, this is, I forget the one, like Abu Dhani or something like that on the yo, and like he was the first guy to do a lot of that shit, but like he like would just ad nauseum, like the first 2 or 3 paragraphs would be like funny annotations about things or whatever, and it's like, oh my god, bro, like just get to the point. You want to talk about some yo-yos you're getting ready to release?
Yeah, what do I have? I don't really. Well, let's talk about the firecracker first, right?
Okay, yeah, it works.
Tyler brought this over for me. It's the coffin edition with the black and the black. It's Black Cat, right? The firecracker
that's
company.
where the flip is.
So it's a flip. It's the black bat.
I really wanted Coffin to do like a crazy, like old school skateboard, like how they were super detailed, like graphic.
Yeah,
drawings.
like the old birdhouse shit.
Yeah, I wanted to do one of like someone's hand getting blown off by a firework, because that would have been so sick engraved in here. How this is, his artwork is always super detailed, but I think I just like randomly pitched that as like, because he has a couple other bats, and I was like, oh, it'd be, you know, like, or an easy one would be this one, and then he just did that, which is still really nice. I'm not complaining, but
yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, I really like it. Firecracker's a slimline yo-yo that comes stock responsive, like all these yo-yos that Jake and I are talking about how annoying that was back in the day. But now it's fun.
It's a novelty, and
it's different now. You know what I mean? It's, I don't know. You like to pick it up and have it come back to your hand, and also just the design of yo-yos now is better. So like you can do some new school tricks on that and have it perform pretty well, and it can still come back with a flyaway bind or a tug. And
yeah, it's solid. What is it, like 65 grams or something?
Yeah, I think
it feels
maybe 64 actually.
Very solid for its size. And CJ Design, he's very good at just organic-y type yo-yos. I feel like he has a knack for getting the lines like perfect. I don't know. I find it all his designs really aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Even his turnbuckle stuff is like very pretty.
It comes stock with a rubber shielded bearing, so that way the lube doesn't escape out from the yo-yo. If you look really close at like a metal bearing, has just a teeny tiny gap between the inner race and the bearing shield, which I don't really know why that is the way it is, but it doesn't really keep lube in the yo-yo, and it also makes it really difficult to get lube into the yo-yo. So the rubber shields, it fills in most of that space so none of the lube escapes, and then when you want to relube it, you can just pop them off. And then
those are sweet to have, just to have around too. I have a bag of them because you can throw them in any yo-yo you want to try responsive. And
the rubber shielded bearings, nice.
And I feel like first time I saw those was like probably Spencer had them in the Walter.
I was talking to Spencer about it when I was out in Portland a few months ago, because I was talking about this yo-yo that was coming out, and I was like, yeah, it's gonna come with a rubber shielded bearing like yours, so the lube doesn't go. I was like, oh, is that what that's for? And I was like, yeah, like
that's funny. We were talking about rubber bearings, black bat, firecracker. So it's out now. It dropped today.
Yeah, it dropped today. Thank you to everyone who ordered one off the Recess Direct store.
We love that.
Yeah, that's I don't know exactly how many I sold, but good amount. I'm impressed with how many, so I think, or I don't think, but that's definitely, that was a big thing that I missed the boat on for the last 4 or 5 years, was not doing direct sales, because like it's just so much more work to do than like shipping them all off to Yo-Yo Expert and getting a check,
right,
or shipping them all off to Rewind and getting a check. But that's such a standard for the industry now that I feel like I don't know. And I also, most of the time you want to support stores, or like the stores kind of used to do more for brands. Like, not that they don't anymore, but it's like they, I don't know. It used to be like the stores would compete for customers, so they would do more to promote your yo-yo, take cool pictures of it, or like if you were kind of hooking up stores, like, or they were like, certain stores would pick certain brands to be like, okay, this is like the brand that we're really gonna push.
Yeah,
or whatever.
It was different. There was more stores, at least American-based stores. Yeah, I remember like I always felt like the Yo is where I went for like Yo-Yo Jam and like top tier shit, and then I would go to Dave's for like, they always had more like weird older freehands and stuff in stock.
Yeah,
I felt like,
because Dave was like a collector. So
yeah,
like
he was more Duncan oriented and like maybe smaller brands.
And the Yo always would like,
the Yo had like the newest hottest shit, like pretty
which is
much.
funny because their website was so bad. Even back in the day, it was not a good website at all, which is hilarious to think about.
And it was a weird situation because he was based out of Hawaii, but do you remember if they actually shipped out of Hawaii? Because that would cost a lot of money to ship to mainland.
I don't know.
I think he had like a setup in California, like somewhere on the west coast.
Because remember, he was like the fastest shipper for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, you would buy yo-yo from there, and 2-3 days later, it would be at your house.
He might have had like spots on the east and west coast that he would ship out of, but he lived in Hawaii for sure.
And this was like I swear, because I was like pretty with it back then, I would have been like, where is this coming from, and looked at the return address. Or maybe he just like had that absconded somehow, so you couldn't see where they're shipping from. But it's like, because now you could just look at that and be like, oh, that's why people are upset with Evan and Yo-Yo Factory still, because they're still drop shipping all of his yo-yos. But like, you could have seen like, oh, this came from the Yo store in California versus the Yo store in Hawaii.
He might have just had it not say. But that's funny because the rumor always, rest in peace to Yo Mike.
Yeah, rest in peace to Yo Mike.
He was this guy, Yo Mike, an Italian guy. I forget his last name. It was something very Italian, and he was in a wheelchair. He lived.
Did you ever meet him or anything?
No.
Or did you talk to him on the phone?
I talked to him a lot because I was a mod on the Yo forums.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we had like somewhat of a personal. We would chat,
You were like 13 or 14
I know.
too, weren't you?
I was
That's
also
so
the
funny.
mod on a Harry Potter forum called polyjuice.net.
That's
just
swag.
really weird. I just remember that the other night. I was like, that was a weird part, like year or two of my life where I was like very active. I'm not even that into Harry Potter. I never really, I read the books, but like for some reason I found this small community. It was like an independent, like Harry Potter fan
Forums
forum.
just had a sick run.
Yeah.
It's like now how...
It was just how you communicate. Like, it was the best way to... Because with AIM, to instant chat, you needed someone's screen name. But forums, you could, like, meet new people very easily. So I met this whole community and became a mod of this. Like, we never talked about Harry Potter. It was, like, an off-topic forum, more or less. But...
Harry Potter's have brought everyone together.
Yeah,
it's how Discord is now for people, where like they're the groups of kids that all hang out, all met each other. On Discord,
you join a whatever Discord, but you don't necessarily talk about that thing all the time. It's just an it's just a chat room, basically.
It's so funny how it's the same exact thing as a forum. It's just a live chat room with different sections, and it's cool, but it's just, I don't know. It's like I can like distinctly remember, because like I was just arguing with Zamstrom constantly on the forum. And I was like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I getting such satisfaction out of this? That makes me very weird. And then B, like, I was already like world and national champion. And I was like, I'm really good at this. Like, why am I wasting my time posting online instead of actually doing the thing that I like?
What was your screen name?
X58 eats you.
5A eats you. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. On the Yo days, I was still Ray of Evil, which was my RuneScape name. So I just carried over that from RuneScape. But
That's tight.
anyway, the rumor for Yo Mike was that he was in the witness protection program from the mafia, and they moved him to Hawaii from New Jersey.
Yeah,
and I don't know.
I was gonna say, do you know where that rumor came from, or who started that rumor?
I really don't remember the details.
It would kind of work out if he was from New Jersey.
He was from New Jersey and he was in a wheelchair. You know, could be a lot of reasons, but the rumor was that he got like shot and you know what I mean? Like,
well, how he told you he was from Jersey, or you guys would talk about East Coast shit?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure he was from Jersey for a fact. I don't remember how I know that, but maybe he talked about it and mentioned it. But yeah, I don't know. But he was like definitely like not your average yo-yo type. I'm not sure how much he was really into yo-yos. He was just into selling them, you know? Like,
yeah, no, I don't think
he was into making money. Like,
it's not easy to yo-yo from a wheelchair.
Yeah,
so like,
yeah. That's true.
And that's like, how does he even fall into that?
I don't know.
Weird,
That's
like,
why
selling
like,
yo-yos, because like that's not even, you got to do it at like such a level for it to be really profitable, you know what I mean?
I think he might have had other stores too, online
that
stores.
would make sense. Yeah,
I don't really know,
because the internet back then was like, even Amazon back then would have been like, it was big deal, but it wasn't like it is now. Like, they didn't sell everything under the sun. Like, they strictly sold like books and maybe a handful of other things.
But he did set up this whole web forum and fostered a community there, and like he was somewhat active on the boards, but most of the time he more or less came across like annoyed at yo-yo. Like, he did not seem like he would like get mad at people on the boards a lot, like just like you know, he was not that into it.
He was the old curmudgeon-y man.
Yeah,
like, why can't you guys just have fun? Like, it's supposed to be fun. Have fun.
People would complain about whatever, something taking too long to ship, or like this didn't sold out to, and you would just be like, fuck you guys. Like, I'm doing my best here. Like, you can go buy elsewhere if you don't want to, like, whatever, I'll ban you. Like, he was just like kind of a hothead. He was a really interesting character.
But it was never anything like, I never took it as like malicious or like you said, it was very like, just this is what it is, and like if you don't like it, go somewhere else and buy yo-yos or like whatever. Like, there's
at the end of the day
stores, like,
he had some sort of passion for, because like he wouldn't have put in the work to get that forum. That was a really well run, and like it was a solid play. It was the Yo and Dave's, and then yoyoing.com were the three big ones.
I mean,
the Yo is pretty, I feel like.
Yo-yoing is just one of those weird communities where, like, when you give people a little bit of power, like that JHB dude, you remember him?
Yeah,
I think he's still a mod on the Yo-Yo Expert forum now.
Yeah, I was shocked by that, and he was a fellow mod at the Yo. I always remember because he had a Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes, and I think he still does. I don't know if I've ever met him.
I think I met him like once or twice because he was really good friends with Atomic Cal, right?
Yeah.
And like, I think
I wonder what happened to him.
Atomic Cal used to come around to all the West Coast contests because he lived out there. But
that guy was insane. He painted yo-yos so well.
Yeah,
like, so well. They were like glitter paints, but like,
it's so funny thinking back then about how quickly yo-yos sold out because they didn't exist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can remember like all like Pyro, Bape, Eats It, all those yo-yos. I think the first one that didn't really sell out like that was like the Business or something.
Yeah.
That may have taken like a month to actually move. Now shit sits forever, but back in the day. And it's funny because there was 1/100th the amount of yo-yoers there were back then that there are now. But it's like there's such an overabundance of shit to buy that
that's the thing. Yo-yos, like, I'd have to think to get the exact details, but like from 2004 when I started yo-yoing my first full year, and then 5 and 6, like the big yo-yos that came out
the Pyro
were like
came out Christmas 2005.
There's Pyro, there was, you know, Eats It, Babezilla,
the Flux, the Flux,
the Fee, Fee.
Yeah.
But like there just wasn't. There was like maybe 1 or 2 a quarter, like each year.
Yeah, maybe.
And now there's like 6 a week. It seems like sometimes like.
And they're all like trying to beat each other by $5 on the price tag, and like all the colors are the same.
They're running 300 or 400 at a time, whereas like some of those other yo-yos, like I doubt he made even 300 buys. Like
Yeah, I forget how many Phis there were. I know there was for sure like 300 Bapes, I want to say. Because it used to be like...
I think there was 400 of like
400,
the Eats It. I think they usually just did 400, but they sold, to stores. So
yeah,
it was
because
like...
every store would get like 80 to 100 or something
Yeah.
like that. Or like 75 to 100. And like... Because Joe would literally get like 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And they would sell to Japan too, I remember.
Yeah, we're spoiled now with the amount of stores there are, but like, again, I don't know. There's only 1 or 2 stores that really go above and beyond to promote the stock they have, and otherwise it's just all sitting there for you to peruse and go check out.
Yeah.
That was another thing, though, is back in the day, there were so few yo-yos that you would literally go to every store and look through every single brand that was listed on the website.
Yeah, it was very easy to see. I would do that all the time, man. Like, I knew every single... The only one that was overwhelming was Infinite Illusions.
Yeah.
Because he had so much, like, old stock, weird-ass shit
Yeah.
that, like, I would kill to look through now. Like, back then, I was like, what is all this old bullshit? But he had, like, weird-ass, all the old Spintastics yo-yos, all the old, like, cherry bombs and shit.
Yeah, someone should go down there and... If they want to deal with Greg for a few days, see
For real.
if they could get access to like his old warehouse or something. Cause
that would be incredible. He's got to have some gems.
Yeah. Also, God knows if it's the humid Florida weather. God knows how they've been stored for 20 years
like
at this point.
Yeah, who knows? I feel like he's got the money. He probably has like a warehouse, like a nice warehouse, but I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah, who knows? Do you have any other releases you want to? Oh yeah, you didn't even mention
I have.
yours
So the next yo-yo is going to be continuing the Slappa, continuation of that design, which is in collaboration between me and Jamie from Throw Spiral. And it's like a slimline, super lightweight yo-yo inspired by the Gopa. But we just took the Slappa. It's probably my favorite yo-yo. I just really like that yo-yo. So I wanted to see if Jamie could just make it bimetal, but keep it the same, like not heavier. Like it's still 58, 59 grams. Same size, same shape, but it has outer stainless steel rings. So
they're not mounted like the Dunk Slam
no,
Dunk is.
They're like just traditional outer.
Gotcha.
Right on the outside.
Why do you think you like the Slappa so much?
It's just different. I don't know. That's like I said. It's like a Gopa. The Gopa was the first yo-yo I used that felt that way, which is like slimline, little bit larger in diameter, and then just really light. Like that's the sweet spot I think for me. Is like 58, 59 grams. It just, I don't know. It's like fun. It's fun,
but you can still do all the tricks you want to do on it.
And the cool part about the Slappa, Jamie is really like a genius with the design stuff. Like he got the diameter so much bigger, and it doesn't have like a huge amount of rim weight, but because the diameter is so big, it makes it really stable, and it does spin really long. And I'm not smart. It has something to do with the diameter, though, is the reason it can be so light and have like almost no metal on the rims, but still be super stable. And I just really like super stable yo-yos too.
You talking about the mono metal? Okay. Yeah.
So the new one, in theory, should be even more super stable.
Anything
hopefully.
that's slim line is just stable
because
it has
that too.
inertia.
It's a combo
less,
of the slim line, but also the big diameter makes it like spin faster or something. I don't remember, but anyway, it plays. It just plays really well, and so I think we didn't even get prototypes, which we didn't for the original Slappa either. So we're keeping with tradition there.
When you know. Like if you work with the right shop that knows how to make a yo-yo.
I trust FPM. They haven't fucked me yet. And then Jamie, I trusted. I'm like, this yo-yo will work, right? And he's like, yeah. So we just ordered Slappas. They came. Like I said, it's like my favorite yo-yo. So we did the same thing again. They're almost done. They should be done this week.
Nice.
So next couple weeks I'll have those.
Are you gonna drop those like ASAP when they come in?
Yeah, like usual. I usually drop like the next day. But it'll be a little longer because I want to do some more stuff. I have some ideas for the promotion. I won't share the name yet. It's stupid but funny. I think.
Yeah, you'll have to tell me after this. I don't know the name.
And then, It's gonna have some really cool colors, some like retro yo-yo inspired colors, and some cool finishes. The Slappa was all blasted. This will have blasted and glossy, and since it has rings, we're gonna have like some blasted rings.
Wow.
I think it'll be really like, I don't know. I think it'll feel cool. I'm excited to try it. I haven't even used it, but
I don't know if I've ever seen a blasted stainless steel ring before.
Oh, I'll show you. I have a Kagura over there. That's what the Japan Technology Kagura.
Okay, I have played with one of those.
Remy was competing with a while. Yeah, so that one that's my only blasted rim yo-yo, and I was like, this is so sick. Like, it's a very cool. You know, it looks cool, and it feels nice.
Does it get dirty? The rim?
No, it's not like that textured.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's like kind of a lighter, like this kind of vibe. But
it's like the Dink.
Yeah, like that. Yeah. So, and then Dinks are in stock at Yo-Yo Expert and Yo-Yo Sam still. So, they're selling well there. I'm sold out of Dinks, but they are available. And that's a fun stainless steel. Out. Yeah, when they're gone, they're gone. We have plans to do a second run because they were really. I've had so many people say that's their favorite of like the whole Dunk line, which is crazy to me. Yeah, I did not expect that. It seemed, I knew I didn't want to make a novelty mini yo-yo. I wanted to make a nice one, so I'm glad people seem to genuinely like it as a yo-yo. Mm-hmm. So I got that Apathy, which is Kieran's yo-yo, and that sort of inspired. CJ really loved the Apathy too, and we got some ideas from that. So we're gonna do a second run of Dinks eventually, but they're gonna be like 2.0, Dink 2.0, like they're going to be different.
That's cool.
In a really fun way, I think. So, yeah. And then a bunch of other stuff, too.
Do you want to talk about your capped yo-yo? Is that on the horizon at all or not really?
Yeah. That's a collaboration that I haven't even officially announced with who yet, but it's a really...
I was going to say, I swear you've posted about it at least. Just the yo-yo, not the collaboration.
I haven't said yet, and it's fairly obvious who it is, but it's a very popular yo-yo company. Designed a big... Dunk with caps, and this is the prototype. It's raw and it's called the Chunk. We decided, so
it's a good name. It's
really fun. I've been using it. That my other one is beat to shit. Playing 5A, the caps have popped out, and I've smashed them back in, and it's still not like it vibes, but it still plays well. Not that one.
Really? No, I know.
But yeah, I really
beat the shit out of yo-yos.
Yeah, I test them very extensively. So
perfect.
Yeah. It's really fun. Those are being made right now, too. And holy shit, picking the colors for that was a nightmare because you have the caps and the body. And the way the factory wanted to do it was like you order solid yo-yos and then you have the option to so this one is solid blue and you get a solid red one. But then you have to tell them, I want the blue caps on the red one and the red caps on the gold one. And then you're stuck with a set of gold caps. You have to find where those go. You know what I mean? Like, it was just... Maybe I'm dumb, but it took me a long time to like mix and match how I wanted all the caps and some solid. So anyway, I got a shitload of colors. And
that's awesome. Do you remember how many colors you did? Or
I think 8 solid colors, but then by the time you swap the caps around, you end up with like more than 8. So
you did like a couple random 10 here, 10 there.
Yeah, whatever, and I think there's a fade in there. Like there's some crazy stuff. So we're gonna get some Cerakoted for sure, which will look crazy.
Yeah,
a yo-yo like this with like lime green.
That'll be awesome, especially like if they don't do the cap and it's like shiny still, but then the body's muted.
Yeah. So I don't know how we're gonna do it. I will sell them direct online, and then they're gonna be available at Worlds. I think at the Yo-Yo Expert booth. Don't quote me on that, but they're going to be available somewhere in person at Worlds for sure.
I'm sure they'll be available before then. No,
yeah,
I mean, a little while
I'm going to sell direct before then, but I think I'm going to save some colors and some special editions for Worlds and Nationals, so you'll be able to get them there too. But yeah, I'm sure I'll end up selling some just through my store like usual too.
Nationals is like 8 weeks away, 7 weeks away.
Holy shit. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully they're done by Nationals, but probably.
I'm sure they'll be done.
Hopefully. We'll see.
They're in production right now.
Definitely slap a bimetals at Nationals.
That's sick.
They'll probably be hopefully sold out by Worlds, but we'll see. And then I have like 2 other yo-yos too, but those aren't announced yet. So
Damn.
I'm trying to make it the biggest year yet, but the year is flying. It's already fucking May,
It's already
dude.
May.
Like
Literally today and tomorrow are the last days of April.
so we're like almost halfway. So it might not end up. I might not hit all my goals, but
I mean, on average, you do like 3 models a year, right? Something
not
like
really.
that.
I think I did one the past 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, Slim Rebound last year, Tie Dunk the year before, Tie Dunk and Slappa the year before.
I guess you just do so much to promote them that it feels like it's longer than it is.
It takes like a year to get all the colors out and to sell them all, but I don't know. I'm trying to get a bunch of stuff out because I have so much stuff in the works, and it's all really exciting. But yeah,
That's awesome.
Buy Mel Slappa.
And you're starting to do a little more wholesale, so it's like kind of easier to take a little bit of the burden off you instead
Definitely,
of like,
yeah.
I'm sitting on 200-300 yo-yos.
Yeah.
It's like, I moved 100 real quick, and then
Mm-hmm.
and the accounts you have actually buy a good amount of yo-yos. It's not just like they're taking a dozen off of your hands.
Yeah.
I have the firecracker. Go buy the firecracker.
Yeah, dude. The purple one's sick.
It's,
There's that Bip Boppy inspired colorway too.
They're halfway gone now.
Oh,
so
hell yeah. That's a good one.
if you want the coffin
I like the
one.
mint chocolate chip one too.
Yeah, they
the
were really
brown.
worried about that fade. You and I talked about
Yeah.
that because every time that you try to do a fade like that too with brown, they're always like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
maybe it'll work. And it's like, I don't understand why this is an issue, but maybe they're
know.
just worried with how the colors could mix toward the middle, and it's
yeah,
not-
and get real weird. But
Yeah.
that's kind of the point. I think we wanted to
Right.
do that with the Slappa, but we ended up they didn't want to, so we did green and brown and then half swapped them to
Mhm.
make like a mint chocolate chip. But yeah, I like that green brown.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
classic.
stoked on it, and I feel like it's not like I took as many risks with this run of colors, but I definitely did. I don't know. I just feel like they're a little more mature or
Mhm.
I don't know. Like they're better for like the people who are gonna buy a slimline yo-yo
Yeah.
than like
No, this one is crazy.
competition
I'm sure
yo-yo or
these
something.
don't need help to sell, but just the art on this alone is so cool.
Yeah, they'll be at retailers in the next few weeks, but if you want one now, buy them from me. They'll be in the mail in 24 hours.
Hell yeah.
And I have a collaboration with Yo-Yo Friends coming out. Hopefully sooner than later. It's
Damn.
definitely semi in production now, but we're working out a few more kinks. But that'll be available everywhere. Again, like Jake said, it'll have like 20 different colors or something insane. So it's not a capped yo-yo, it's a Delrin yo-yo with aluminum rings.
Hell yeah.
And then I'm redoing Supernova too. New Supernova should be
Yo,
out sometime
that-
this summer.
Oh, I'm so excited for
I
that.
sent one to China to get them to like reverse engineer.
Wow.
And I'm making it at a really good shop, so it'll all be nice and fun and good, and I'm excited for it. so.
Supernova's such a good yo-yo.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't have
stoked
one
to
anymore,
see people still occasionally popping up, like asking if anyone has one to buy or whatever.
Mhm.
And it's still, anytime I have one sitting out at the house or whatever, people will be like, "Oh my gosh, like, do you have more of these?" I'm like, "I have like 10. That's it."
Yeah.
Like, I used to have a ton,
um,
but
Sean had one at his house with that like vertigo laser
the
engraving.
wavelength pattern.
Oh,
yeah.
that was so sick. Such a good yo-yo.
Yeah, people were asking me about that, and that was actually like
You should do that, dude.
I wish. I don't know if
That was
I
like
could-
a test pattern you said?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's literally they just like mounted the yo-yo on a Dremel and spun it around, and then the laser just has like to like test how far the pattern can go. It just like and like it makes a different pattern on every single yo-yo, and then like we kind of matched them up as best as possible before.
I have a laser engraver guy who's really easy to work with and cool, and I bet he'd be willing to try
it out.
Yeah, like rig something up. He's
Yeah.
in Pottstown. It's not
Huh.
far from here.
Yeah, I'd be interested to talk about it.
He was stoked. He did the barreled slim dunks.
Yeah.
And he was like, so it's just one guy in a shop. He somehow has a brick and mortar. He mostly has like trophies.
Yeah,
So I guess he
That's
does
cool.
good business that way. But he was like, yeah, if you want to, like, he was stoked on it. You know what I mean? So I feel like
a lot
if
of
you
random
gave him a
stuff you can
challenge, he
engrave,
might.
like.
Yeah.
And most of the time, the people who run laser engraving stores, the reason that they have them is because they know how to fix them.
Yeah.
So it's
that
like
makes sense.
because it's really expensive to get them serviced or whatever. But it's like if you buy one that's like kind of fucked up and then you fix it and then you basically have a business and then you just find a bunch of people who need a bunch of parts laser engraved and then you can start your own store. But
I bet he'd do it, dude.
yeah, we should talk about it because it would be cool to bring that pattern back. And that's Yo-Yo Factory's definitely not doing it again anytime soon. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny when they bought a laser engraver and then they had to like basically break up with the laser engraving guy. We were like one of his bigger accounts too, which kind of sucks because like that was very interesting times working at Yo-Yo Factory because the guy would always like every financial quarter he would like up the cost of laser engraving like a quarter per yo-yo or something, and then he would always be like, oh man, it's getting hard to keep employees on and blah blah blah, and he only had like 2 or 3 employees. It was nobody that
Yeah.
was really like that many people that he employed. But like, and then every time you went over, he would be like, "Oh yeah, we just got a new pool in the house, or I bought a new motorcycle." One time, they're like, I think the hammer and nail in the coffin was like we went over there one time to pick up yo-yos, and he had like a camper, like a brand new like drive around, yeah, camper van parked outside, and then Hans like immediately, I swear that week, started looking at laser engravers online. It was just like, if we did get one of these for less than what it costs to do yo-yos for a year, this is worth it business wise, which it is. But they didn't like the Yo-Yo Factory one was a I forget.
Really nice one or something.
No, the opposite. Like they
aren't that expensive, are they?
No, and now you can get them for like $1,000.
Yeah,
$1,200,
my boss was looking at him the other day when he was down the rabbit hole of I texted you because he was looking at CNC lathes. I'm like, I don't think a tabletop lathe is going to be able to make a yo-yo. He's like, I think so, and this one's only $5,000. Like, let's just get this one and we'll set it up in the shop. And I'm like, it'll take so long to make like
so
20
funny,
yo-yo, and like they're not gonna be good.
Super money-minded people, as soon as they hear one time like, yeah, I've sold X amount of yo-yos, like, it's, oh my god, we could do it.
It's a little of that, but he's an engineer, so he just loves the idea
and stuff,
and he loves that, like, what's the shop in China look like, what are they, so they have how many machines, and like he just wants a CNC lathe for himself, and he wants an excuse to get one. That's all it is, which I'm all for, but we'll see. Maybe someday there'll be maybe someday I'll be making yo-yos with my boss at a stone factory.
Word. Well, do you have anything else you want to cover?
No, not really. That was pretty long. That was a good one.
Oh yeah, it was so long.
Yeah.
So awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, guys.
Like, subscribe.
We're gonna do this more often, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Get it going again.
Do you know the phone number offhand to shout out? Oh, I'll put it in the beginning.
Yeah. We'll have a number you guys can call, leave voicemails, and we'll answer your questions live.
So yeah, talk to you guys later.
See ya.
Sweet.
Oh. I feel like that was damn near 2.5 hours. It's gotta be, right? What time is it? Oh my god.